Hi, this is Pat Duckworth, the author of the international best-selling book, Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. And I just love talking to entrepreneurs so I can find out more about their journey and any tips that they've got to give us for how to be a successful entrepreneur. My guest today is a 4 times international best-selling author, a facilitator, a life coach, a web geek, an adventurer, and a lover of life. He's my first male guest on Hot Women Rock. He's had a number of entrepreneurial businesses, and we'll find out about how young he started that. And he's been part of an international multi-level marketing. He's operated a couple of investment clubs, and he's owned various real estate properties. So a big welcome to Neil Thrussell. Hi, Neil. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, and thank you, Pat, for breaking me in. I mean, breaking the male species in on your show and picking me of all the 6 billion people you could have picked, or however, half of that, 3 billion people. Thank you.
You're really welcome, because I know you've got an interesting story to tell us. And I think your entrepreneurial journey starts at a pretty young age. So tell us a bit about that.
It actually, well, thank you, and it does. I was still in high school, and I'm in North America, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and high school ends when you're 17, 18, so when it goes to grade 12. So in my 12th year of school, they were looking for disc jockeys to do the school dances, and a couple buddies and I were just sitting around, and we said, well, we can do that. And, well, being who I was, well, I just said, well, let's do it. And next thing we know, we did the school dance, and then we're headed down. We had some good advice. We made the company a legal entity in Canada, and 4 years later, we ended up dissolving the company because we learned that sometimes best friends aren't best company people.
Lesson number 1.
Absolutely, but it was a learning experience, because everything, for me, everything that I learned, whether they were 100% successful or completely not successful, were all learning experiences and just developed my entrepreneurial skills.
I'm glad you avoided the word failure there, because I really want to stick to that NLP understanding. There is no failure, there is only feedback.
And yes, and though it may, in turn, for a brief moments of time, it may feel like that, but then it's just a lesson, and you move on. Or hopefully a person is able to move on quickly. Because I believe as an adventurer of life is way too short to be stuck. If it wasn't as successful as you want, move on.
So what did you move on to from high school? Did you go to university or take up some kind of career? What did you do next?
Back then, I was an opportunist. I didn't know it was the power of the universe, God, whatever, the force. Luke used the force. Anyways, I didn't know anything about this. This job flopped in my lap and said, Neil, come work construction. And I went, okay, because everybody else back then was making like $8 an hour, and in construction I could make $10 an hour. So I'm like, okay. So I did. And the thing is, I'm in Canada, and the winters are cold. So I worked all the way from May till September, October, and I'm like, this is crazy. It's getting colder and colder. I don't like this working outdoors in the cold. So then the universe provided for me. A friend of a friend said, Neil, there's a job with the government, and you've taken drafting, so go to work at the government. And so I did. And so I got out of the day that I actually started for the government was one of the worst winter snowstorms. And I'm thinking, yes, I chose the right path. and then like all entrepreneurs, I thought that the government job was not for me. It was, just not who I am. So I decided to go back the following year in April. My boss at the time asked me back, and my hands were so soft that they hurt so badly. I went, I'm done with this. So I got involved in multi-level marketing, and once again, it was a beautiful learning opportunity because most multi-level marketings provide awesome training, awesome skills.
Absolutely. I think that's one of their real selling points is that they provide so much coaching and marketing skill.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more because you have to learn to multi-level. You have to learn to sell, and you have to learn to get past yourself because nothing's like asking your family, "Hi, would you like some soap?" It does. You have to have some moxie, and it develops, and it also develops your ability to take rejection because I don't know anyone in any kind of entrepreneurial skills or job that has never heard the word no or various impolite forms of go away. So MLL helped me. I also discovered that I liked stocks. So I was like, I'm a young kid. I don't know how to do any of this. So we created stock market clubs, investment clubs, and I learned about the stock market. And then somebody said there's this thing called real estate. And I went, oh, okay. So went out and, we were barely into our first house. We had our mortgage payment and I'm trying to convince my wife, come on, we need to go and spend more money.
That's not always a popular option.
No. And because as part of, I believe any entrepreneur really needs to understand who they are, what drives them, and what they're passionate about. And I'm passionate about, or at the time, I was passionate about new sparkly things. This was the next best. And my wife comes from, we've managed to stay together for 32 years, bless her soul. Was a far more conservative. You saved the money, you had the money, and then you bought. And it was like, I'm going to save the money for a house, for an investment. That's not how it works.
And that's the whole thing with entrepreneurs, isn't it? It's that willingness to take risks because they can see, they've just got this big picture of where it's going.
Yes, and part of, for me, was the journey of learning so much about myself. Like, success really came when I learned that crazy word that I still am learning today called patience. Like,
what does that word mean?
I don't know, it's for other people. It's like when I learned a little bit of patience and a little bit of due diligence, things turned around. Like we made money in the beginning. We've made money off of our real estate. We made money, but we were either into something a little too late or a little too early. So just not enough due diligence. And
so where did you move on to next from that? I mean, gosh, you started so young. We've got so many changes to cover here. Where did you go next?
And then fear took over because the real estate market crashed, and my wife Tina lost her. We chose just before the market crashed for her. She was working for a very unscrupulous company, and she has morals and values, and she couldn't work. So she quit her job. And at the same time, the real estate market just came tumbling in North America. So we were hit with some crazy bills because our renters were not able to pay the bills. So fear set in, and I played small because I just thought this was karma for all the crazy risks. I didn't know enough about myself, and I actually my sphere of influence wasn't large enough. If I was to create a mentorship circle at the time, they were all of the same mindset of me. We didn't have anyone in the group. In my own arrogance, I was the smartest one in the group. And that is never the way to be. Never be the smartest one. I was the leader. I was the pushing all the forefront. Well, here I was now feeling fears. So in my sphere of influence, I didn't have people pushing beyond and a coach to go, Neil, you need to think what the next step is. So we ended up bailing, and for a period of time, we reclused. We chose to go out and adventure and mountain biking, reconnect with family. And it wasn't till I got involved in some self-development programs and a couple really phenomenal coaches that ask simple questions. What's the worst thing that happened? What would be the best thing that would happen? What do you really want? Like really simple questions, but when you're in the midst of going, I don't know, are confusing questions and make you say bad things to your coach.
Definitely. So where did you get to from that?
So from there, then I realized that I was chasing the wrong things. I was chasing things like I wanted a real estate empire. Well, that's great, but it wasn't real estate I was passionate about. I wanted stocks. Well, it's not. I wasn't happy about stocks. So I discovered what I really was happy with about was sharing and teaching and being with people. People make me happy. So I was not.
That's where we make our connection, Neil, because, I'm just passionate about learning and sharing. If you learn and keep it to yourself, the knowledge devalues. It grows when you share it.
And yes. And so then I went and I took my coach's certificate, and then I started out very tiny, with my wife and I started our first coaching business called Best You Can Be. And it was a moderate success. And once again, we were learning as we went, and we weren't learning with people's emotions. We were learning the business. And there's where we come back to, is we weren't passionate about the business. So we made business errors when things that we could have done better. But we were passionate about helping people. And when you're just passionate about helping people, you end up giving everything away. Everything is free. Here, let me help. So next thing, there's 80 hours in a week that you could conceivably work, and you've only billed for 1 hour of it. And you're like, well, but you're still enjoying it. You're still having fun. And then when people would offer me money, I would go, oh, no. Because I was in this place of it being money, being very spiritual. As you're a coach, it's because I had gone through what I had seen as the greed and all about the money. And now, so then I gave it all away.
There's a balance got to come in there somewhere.
Absolutely. And this brings me 30 some years. And Tina and I have created something called the Shin Dao Institute. And it's where we're now helping people from a place. Shin is love. Is heart. And Dao is the way. So it's from the way of the heart. So yes, we're being paid, and yes, we're following our passion. But more importantly, we're sharing our learnings of everything that it took to get to this point. Because in today's technology, Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, we're able to connect quicker and easier to people. And people's attention spans are, sorry to say, but are like gnats. If you can't grab somebody in 5 seconds, they're already clicking the button.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Pat Duckworth, the author of Hot Women Rock, talking to Neil Thrussell in Calgary. And we've already talked so much about his passion for what he's doing now, that sharing all of that knowledge and that experience. Would you say, Neil, that is part of your purpose? Do you feel that that's what you were here for?
Absolutely. And for so many years, I ignored it. I believe we're all here for a purpose. We all have a passion. And it's funny that when you actually follow your passions, there's a good chance 90, 98, 99% that it's actually what you were supposed to do. If you like creating with your hands and you're passionate about it, that's probably pretty close to what your purpose involves, is doing something with your hands. If you love to take care of people, there's a good chance that that is what your purpose is. And many entrepreneurs like I get involved in things for the wrong reasons because we're not following our passions. I was never passionate about selling soap, even though it's good to have a clean body, but I was never passionate about it. I was always passionate about, and I still am passionate about, people. And I missed it when I got involved in the soap business. It's about the people. It's about serving. So even if you're in the MLMs, it's not about the product. It's about the service to the people. It's about what they can get, the experiences of it.
And so, you know, if you could imagine yourself becoming an entrepreneur at midlife, I mean, you started so early, but some of the women that I work with, they get to this midlife stage, they know they're dissatisfied with what they're doing, but they've never really got into connection with their passion and their purpose. Any tips for how to do that, how to start to feel what it is you're here for?
Well, one, that I'm not a woman, so I can't tell a woman how to do it.
You're a person, Neil.
But the key is if you don't know what your passion is or your purpose is, your number one purpose is to figure it out. And in most cases, I would go back to your childhood. What did you like to do? What did you love to do? What do you like to do now? What do you love to do? And then let that voice that wants to figure out, go, okay, so I like to do knitting. What do I do with it now? Or I like to do this. What do I do it? Let that go. Just let it percolate. Really live that passion. And then you will actually start to see and feel things show up in your life. It's when you give yourself permission, fully permission to experience something, then miracles occur. It's like,
does there need to be that other P word that we talked about earlier? Patience?
Sometimes. and a large part of our client base is, for the Shin Dao Institute, is women going through midlife. They're empty nesting, the children are leaving, or they've woken up and they're looking at this man that they've been in a relationship with for 20-some years, and there's nothing in common. So they're going through the first stages of a divorce, or both at the same time. So they're really searching for who they are, and they've lost complete sense of what they are. And this, to me, it's a terrible time, but it's a beautiful time, because it allows, the universe is giving you an opportunity to play. Because the only way to find out what you're passionate about is to actually try things. Get out your bucket list and just start going off. And don't let money get in the way, because there's millions of things, hundreds of things you can do that are free to try something out. You can do an art class. You can do all of these things. You can go for a walk. One of the most powerful ways that disconnects that people have is that we've lost our connection with nature. Just get out, go for a walk. Nature has this innate ability to calm us, to bring us back to center.
Okay, I saw another P there. So we've got purpose, passion, patience, play.
Play is one of the easiest ones to do, and one of the hardest ones for a person going through turmoil, because we self-flagellate, we're beating ourselves because we're not worthy. And it's like, we're all worthy of play. We are all worthy of the happiness that is part of. We were put on this is me again. We're put on this earth to be happy. anybody tells you anything else, you don't want them in your life. Go find other playmates.
Yeah, playmates. I love playmates. Oh, let's wind that up on that note of finding the right playmates who are really going to help you to find that purpose and that passion. I think that's a positive. There we go, our last P. Oh, so many P's today.
Yeah.
Neil, this has been fantastic. And if some of the people watching here want to contact you, how can they find out more about you and Tina? And let Tina know I'll be inviting her to come and talk to me too.
Okay, thank you. That's wonderful. And she'll be so happy. Shindao.com, so SHINDAO.com is our website. If you're on Facebook, it's under Neil Thrussell if you want to connect to me personally, or if you want, there's the Shindou Institute page. So Shindou Institute page on Facebook, the Shindou Institute on Twitter, Shindou Institute, you get the thing, on Instagram, Shindou Institute. And Shin, heart, Dao, the way, and it's the philosophy of the heart. Whatever you do in life is to get back into connection with your heart. And really, if you look at any successful, massively successful entrepreneur, they're doing what they love with people that they love and where they love it. It's
excellent.
Cool.
It's been so good playing with you. I'm glad you're one of my playmates.
Thank you, and I'm so glad you have invited me, Pat. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us. Keep watching in for more of these chats and seeing what else you can learn from these wonderful entrepreneurs. See you again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.